All right, General McCaffrey, thanks so much for joining us. I'm just going to jump right into questions. The first one, and the one I think that's on a lot of people's minds, is as someone who has commanded troops in the past, what is your reaction to the situation in Afghanistan right now and the way that that country has deteriorated so quickly over this past week?
Yeah, well, it's shocking. It's hard to understand. It's a tragedy for the Afghan people. It's going to be extremely damaging to U.S. international credibility in the coming years, and the optics of it are damaging to our armed forces because the scenes of chaos will be laid at the feet of the U.S. Armed Forces. So it's a very troublesome situation. We're going to have to work our way through it, and I'm sure we will.
So right now, another one of the big questions is, how could the Afghan government, the Afghan armed forces have fallen the way that they did? But of course, we have a long history of, special inspector general reports out of Afghanistan saying that things were not progressing very quickly there, and contrasted with some senior leaders telling Congress, telling reporters that we had turned a corner, we were making great progress. How do we sort of, deconflict those two things? And in the future, how do we ensure that the public face of an effort like this doesn't belie what's really going on?
Well, things to look in the rearview mirror are certainly easier to understand. Personally, I don't think anybody with an IQ over 80 didn't understand that the Afghan government, the Afghan security forces, were in the hands of a leadership that was corrupt and incompetent. I mean, we all knew that. We had 20,000 Afghan commandos fighting with extraordinary courage right up till the end. But this wasn't a military failure of the Afghan security forces over the last month or so. It was a failure of political will. The Taliban negotiated their way in. It wasn't just Ghani, the president, it wasn't the head of their Afghan armed forces. Local police commanders and army commanders said, we're not going to fight for this outfit. We're going to give them our weapons and hope for the best. Or they were infiltrated already. So let's be clear eyed about what's going on. This wasn't a defeat of the Afghan security forces. It was a collapse of political will.
Well, General McCaffrey, thanks so much for joining us. Do you have any other closing thoughts about the situation as we head into the second week?
No, say some prayer for our troops on the ground. They're such terrific fighters. Just joking with my wife, civilians would never understand this. The unhappiest people right now in the United States are the other two brigades of the 82nd that aren't in the ground. So they'll do their job, and I think this will come out pretty well. If the Taliban attacked that outpost of American military power, we'd have only one option: to escalate massively, and we do it. I'm sure the Air Force and Naval Air Power is preparing a surge if they've got to go after the perimeter to get us out of there. But hopefully, this will work out okay.
Great. Thanks again for your time.
Good to be with you.